My Love of Life Energy is a podcast created by Anna Scott. Anna knows that every human being sees life uniquely. In this podcast, she will talk to people and learn from them. These conversations are to shine the brilliance of each human being she speaks to. Join her. After each exploration, you will expand on your insights and see truth and beauty.
Good morning and good afternoon, and welcome to my podcast, My Love of Life Energy. And I'm with Molly Lynch again today, my co-creator of Exquisite Being. And Molly and I have been exploring what is a harmonic relationship, because that's the foundation of what we're sharing through Exquisite Being. And so with that, Molly, welcome.
Thanks, Anna. It's great to be back in the hot seat of Exquisite Being.
So we just sat and contemplated what is a harmonic relationship. And I'm curious, in your time, what did you see?
Well, the first thing that the image or the inner experience of that contemplation, I just kept feeling like the word harmony kept rising up. And it was, again, about music, like that beautiful metaphor of music, that harmony is the essence tones of the individual kind of added into the whole. So we are all individual notes that create a whole experience in harmony together.
I saw this kind of very similar. I saw it that in a harmonic relationship, the first thing is I have to know who I am. What's my know?
Yeah.
What is it that who I am as an individual, unique from everybody else? Am I aware of that?
Right. So the awareness of who am I in my uniqueness, my authentic essence.
Mm-hmm. In the Exquisite Being was based off our love of the gene keys, and it has the 8th gene key of city of exquisiteness and being, the 10th, the being. And what I just saw when you were talking, the being goes from, I think it's self-obsessed to naturalness.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious what you see between the difference between being self-obsessed and natural, and how it might what does it have to do with harmonic relationships?
Mm-hmm. So you're speaking to my vocation gene key, which is the 10th gene key that you're speaking of. And self-obsession to me, when I imagine it in the sense of, I'm a visual person when I'm contemplating lots of visuals, but what came is like this internal obsession, like looking inside, but also as a critical force, an inward kind of egoic force that has the external as its marker. So there's a self-obsession to match or be or create or have something happen that isn't. It's a force, rather, a force of meeting something external. Or to me, naturalness, which is the gift of that city, is about just letting it go, surrendering to the natural flow of things. It's like the earth energy or the natural energy that I am of my beingness. And every time I become aware of that experience, when I know that naturalness is required to relax, then I can just be.
The way that I see it, it's so similar. It's like when I get in my self-obsessed, I can feel my mind overthinking things. Like I'm just like, well, what about that? What about this? What about that? Well, what are they going to think about this?
And it's very fear driven, right? There's this quality of fear, there's a quality of fear in that.
It's like, will I be good enough
Mm-hmm.
Or am I okay to fit into this or to be loved?
Right. So it's the trying to make a note, a sound, and be a part of the harmony, but it's inauthentic. It's not the real note of the self, right? Or putting it back in the music.
Yeah, and it comes up not being true to what's coming through me, what I really feel.
Yeah.
Not honoring it. I think that's where the challenge is in relationships.
Yeah. And I think the question, when I was writing, the question kept coming, to really articulate, how do I get in touch with that part that is the natural voice or the natural meanness, I-ness, beingness? And it was about, what do I want? What makes this experience feel right for me or not? There's something about exploring in self-inquiry. And then what are my requests? That's sort of the next part of it, if there is in dynamical relationship.
I had this experience last night where with my partner, he said something, and it was like I felt like, excuse the expression, like a pile of shit was thrown at me. And how I perceived it. And then I reacted the way that I reacted, which was like I got pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was looking at it this morning, because I always like to do a replay, like what happened? Like, how did we get so discord? Like symbols?
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Right.
And I could feel like he said something and the energy wasn't clean in the way he said it. It was a derogatory, like kind of a derogatory remark.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt accused. I didn't know at the moment, but my immediate reaction was, I didn't know that I felt accused. My immediate reaction was big and like, screw you.
Yeah.
And it's all valid. And then when I saw later, it was all innocent. Like he wasn't trying to accuse me of anything. He was just struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so to honor all of it.
Yeah. Well, it's that space I'm hearing you talk about. There's that space of like where something affects us, and either we take it personally or we have that wherewithal to have that spaciousness between. And the disharmony comes from that interference of those two things. Like, yes, we're both innocent. Yes, maybe we were not intending harm. And then how do we balance and come back into center?
But the beauty of a harmonic relationship, oh wow, I just saw something, is that it can go into disharmony. And there's an allowance for that.
You want to expand on that? I mean, you just gave an example, but expand on that.
Well, the beauty of a disharmony is to know what harmony feels like.
Right.
So that it can come back into it.
So that
like this morning,
discord.
Go ahead.
Discord, like a chord of music, a chord on an instrument. Discord.
Yeah. But this morning I got to feel how lucky I am to love a human being. Like I get to feel that.
Yes.
What else did you see about harmonic relationships?
Well, similarly, it's like I really saw that I am responsible for my reaction too. Like there's something about that part where I could fall into sort of a victim state, and that can continue to create disharmony in some sense. Like yesterday, I had this experience of being really pissed off. And then, as I sat with that, I just started to feel the grief. And then I felt sadness. And I thought, this is really, the constriction of anger is amazing because it's a signal. It's huge. It's like red. It's like, and then as it moves into the water, the fire into the water, to me, that sadness started to surface. I thought, this is the place that needs the most love. And then I could come back to the relationship with like, this is what I want to bring to that. I want to be from the authentic essence of that's my sadness, is my grief. And that, to me, there's a softening in that space where the harmony can return, because then potentially, hopefully in the highest form, there would be compassion or empathy on the other end of that, coming from that vulnerability. So that's
what I hear is such a beautiful, the thing about in a harmonic relationship, to have one, is you have to know yourself and be able to be with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what you just spoke to, and this is what we see, one of the pillars is honoring yourself in a harmonic relationship. And you really honored each layer that was true for you.
Yeah. And the receptivity to be able to be with your own self, but then also to be able to be with others in those experiences, right?
Yeah, I think there was a guy by the Dr. Randolph Stone, and he was part of, I think, the cranial sacral movement. And he said, the more you can heal yourself, or the more you can be with yourself, the more you can be with others.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other pillar, like the other pillars. We talk about the 6 pillars in a harmonic relationship. It's accountability. What you said is that, we don't take things personally. I'm accountable for my reaction. For a moment, I wasn't accountable for my reaction with my partner last night. I took it personally. It was his fault. Of course it was. That's innocent.
Yeah. Like the protection mechanism. Like it's like the fault, the blame comes from that hurt, right? Like, oh, that hurt. Gotta protect. And then there's like this could potentially be what I consider sometimes that like a punishing energy, right? Like we just don't want, in the sense of we don't want to be affected that way. But in accountability, you're saying, as we move into that state, then we know that we get to then offer, receive on our own response, in our own terms, on some sense.
And what's beautiful is it goes back to one of the other pillars in a harmonic relationship that we talk about. It's the listening.
Yeah.
How am I listening?
Yeah, we covered that deeply in our
podcasts,
in our last few podcasts. But that's when we were creating yesterday. We're creating our workshop for the 20th at your place in Oakland. But just talking about that yesterday, the pillars, and also what did we just? The listening, like how we were going to kind of create an environment where listening was really sort of activated, or there's an invitation to listen in different ways. And I believe the more that I listen to myself in the way we were just speaking to, the more honesty then I can also bring to what's true, and offer, if I'm out of alignment with what that might be, then I could have the innocence to ask, like, what's true.
I think what you just said, that's the thing in a harmonic relationship, is that the listening is so key, because I have to listen to myself and find out, well, what's the real truth?
Mm-hmm.
And there's it usually, for me, it's like, like what you just said, the anger or the sadness, the grief. And then it's that I'm scared.
Mm.
That's the truth. And then it goes, oh, I want love. I want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of losing it.
Yeah. Being part of the symphony or part of the band, and even that fear is such a part of it, because it's so like that feeling of not being in harmony and being in harmony. Even knowing that fear is present, there's so much space for love to enter there. Because I think of a scared child, all I want to do is pick up a scared child and hold her really tight, like, don't be scared. Simple.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's going to be okay.
But I think the challenge that gets into relationships, like what causes the discord, is my own fear or somebody else's fear, and it triggers it.
Your own fear and say it again. Sorry.
My own fear and the other person's fear.
Yeah, right.
So my partner last night was scared about something, and the way he said it, he wasn't conscious of it, but the energy got transmitted.
Yeah.
And then it triggered my fear.
Mm-hmm. And then it was a big fear party. Yeah. Maybe that's sort of the baseline of what, we're kind of dealing with most of the time on some level, that we've been, the protection from the fear and not wanting to feel the fear, because there's also that. But also in the pillar of honoring, it's like we honor our own and the others. And when fear meets fear, it's one thing, but when love meets love, it's another thing. And it sounds like once you came back, you recognized and could bring a different energetic to the space.
Yeah, once I recognized it wasn't personal, that I could see that he was afraid about something.
Mm-hmm.
So love, that I could let it go, because I understand it.
Right.
We don't. It's learning how to be present with my own fears, so I can be present with other people's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the hardest part in relationships, is that we trigger each other's fears.
Mm-hmm.
Or like little landmines.
Watch out. Tread softly.
I think that happens in work. That happens in personal relationships. I think it just happens all over the place, and we're not conscious of it. Now, what Richard Rudd said, we're afraid of being afraid. We're fearful of fear. So it becomes like a lock system.
Right. That's it. I mean, it's cyclical. And it kind of, in what you're sharing, I also wrote down when we were scribing about it, but that there's certain environments which nourish, harmony. So if there's a loving environment, the harmony of that relationship is available. There's just a little, it just rises to that. Like, where can I, like, sometimes I think about my friends or my, people that I know in my life, and I think, where do I feel, and this is an external thing, but I also recognize, like, where do I feel most comfortable or most safe just being myself? And sometimes it can shift a little bit, but there's a handful, I'm just like, I can just let it all go here. But what if I just let it all go anyway? in consideration, but that's the point. That's naturalness. My naturalness is so enjoyable to feel that my beingness just automatically wants, there's nothing else to do. But I like a nourishing environment for my being. That's why the earth is such a beautiful friend.
One of the things that I think that in speaking to that, what fosters, a nourishing environment is when I see the nobility of the other person.
Say more about that.
Well, we talked about this, and this is another pillar. Let's just go over the pillars of our harmonic relationships of our listeners, if they're hearing this. It's recognizing the divinity and humanity, loving yourself, listening, honoring, speaking your truth with accountability, speaking your truth with kindness, and being 100% accountable. And seeing the divinity in another person, like seeing they have something special and unique that's different than me. They're not the same. They're not different. They're different. They're unique. It's not different. They're unique.
Yeah, unique.
And I think that one key word, difference is like, oh my God, I got to manage it. But the uniqueness draws me in energetically. It's like, well, who are you?
The curiosity. I'm hearing you. Like, unique it's like art. Every art, like every piece is different, but it's from the own expression of that individual. I love that so much.
And too, I hadn't seen that until right now. The difference between the word unique and different.
Yeah. And and a harmonic relationship, by what you just shared, and like by extension, in my experience, that as I explore it more, it's the divinity and humanity. It proclaims a state of unity or oneness. There's something about in that uniqueness that we can recognize and see our oneness more clearly, because we can look at each other not only as a reflection of our own heart and our own love, but also be able to just accept people as they are.
Got to feel the spaciousness of that. I mean, and that's the gift, is I get to feel the spaciousness when I accept people as they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, at the end, let's say the end of life, it's like, what is like I got this fortune cookie when I was in my 20s, and I got the little fortune, and I put it, I think it's like, I have this checkbook holder that I've had that since then. It's like a leather zippered checkbook holder, or I made it one, but I taped the fortune cookie paper thing, whatever, what I'm talking about, the fortune. I taped it on that thing, and it is the first love and last love is self-love. And I see that, I always think of that when I think of, like, at the end, like, I want to know that I've done all that I could to love myself, and then hopefully by extension, love the people I was in company with as I walked the earth. I think that, and the beings and all the things, but it's so simple, right? And sometimes I really make it complex.
Welcome to being a human being.
Right.
I want to share the other thing that I saw in the harmonic relationships, the beauties of it. The bees came in, and it was about being of service to another human being. Like, I get to serve and take care and serve another human being. And in doing that, I get pure joy from it. I saw the bees going to get the lavender and their intoxication, like they're in service of something.
Yeah.
but they get intoxicated by it.
And who wouldn't with the smell of lavender? Like, it's like the heavenly scent of the goddess.
Oh, that's so beautiful. But we get to be in service to people.
For the collective too. The
Mm-hmm.
individual too, the whole colony, the whole hive.
Mm-hmm. So what do you see as the gift of a harmonic relationship? Like, why are we doing this?
Why are we doing
Like, what's the benefit? Like, why do we see this?
the benefit is peace. There's a peace there's a peace, there's a belonging. There's it's a relaxation. It's like if I can be who I am, I can exhale, I can breathe clearly, and I am loved. So the benefits are overall beautiful well-being. What about you?
When I just put my hand on my chest when you said that about I can relax.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just see this energy, like we're geysers of energy, of love. And the more I relax, the more that love gets to pour out of me. And I get to feel it as it's pouring out. So like the fear that I have and the constriction that I have of being afraid of somebody not liking me and all that, or not being good enough or being wrong. Like I'm so afraid of being wrong. Like I've done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really, anyway. But the beauty of a harmonic relationship, what I said is that what I felt when you said that is that I get to relax and be the human being, the divine human being that I am. The simple divine. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to put on airs. I get to be me and be this beautiful gift to life and share it.
Yeah. So I just had this question kind of surface, this curiosity. It's like, there's a certain amount, or just maybe it's a contemplation, there's a certain amount of courage, I'd say, that it takes to just be ourselves on some level. And courage, like the base word of courage, it's the heart. Courage starts with the heart. And I see that, like, I see these days, as it were, like there's moments where, and I think, what am I trying to say? I'm finding that kindness, an act of kindness or an intentional act of love, like a physical in the world act of love, is the most courageous thing we can do sometimes, and mostly these days in some way, because there's a lot of fear moving through the culture, but also like, where can I just move? My beingness is love. What can I just an act of kind, loving intent will make a big difference. Like yesterday, I'll just do the example because it was so beautiful when we met yesterday for our business meeting in person, and we went on a mission to find the perfect place to have this meeting. And we didn't want to be a noise. We wanted spaciousness, all the things. And so we're in Larkspur driving around, and Anna, we're driving up in the hills and I'm like, where is this woman taking me? I got it. She's like, there must be a picnic bench somewhere. And I'm like, well, we can go ask one of these people in their houses. But we end up coming to this like huge condo complex. They had this office, and we see from the distance, Anna sees this table on this beautiful deck where there's this emerald pond and grass, and it was so beautiful. And we just walk in. Anna says, can we just go sit in back of this? Can we just go sit at that table on the porch for an hour? And the woman said, sure. It was just as easy and beautiful. But the energy of kindness and just like asking the question, and I just noted how easy in that was, and how we were just able to have such an amazing experience with Exquisite Being out on that deck. And her act of kindness.
Right.
And the intention to have the space, the environment that nurtured and nourished exquisite being was profound in its simplicity.
I know. I think it was so simple.
Yeah.
It was just asking a stranger, would you mind if we used your deck for an hour?
Yeah.
And she was like, no problem. Go for it.
As if she was waiting for us to show up. That's how I felt. It's like, there she was.
This is the beauty. I think the truth, what I'm beginning to see more and more when I feel myself and know my truth.
Yeah.
Is I'm this love and light, as is everybody else. And when I extend that, that's what I receive back.
Yeah. Like attracts like.
So, the beauty is that I know the pain of not having good relationships.
Yeah.
I was in an abusive relationship. I know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I know what a loving, harmonic relationship feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And I so prefer it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where there's kindness, there's forgiveness, there's difficulties.
Yeah.
But it always comes back to kindness, and it comes back to kindness and love really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And being ourselves, being just exactly who we are, being that love and kindness, knowing all of that, create that harmony is available at all times.
Yeah, we can always come back to it. But discord, I just saw today, discord is just as part of it.
Yeah. To see one is to see the other. Beautiful.
Thank you, Molly.
Thanks, Anna.
Anything else for today?
Just keep loving yourself. That would be the thing today, I think.
Good message. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, honey.